Welcome to the Fate of Drakkenheim. This is the Dungeon Dudes D&D 5th edition actual play campaign. My name is Monty Martin, running our game as Dungeon Master.
And I'm Kelly McLaughlin, playing Sebastian Crow, the half-elf shadow sorcerer, and Wilhelm von Kessel, the human swashbuckler rogue. And we're joined today by our good friends.
Jill Denitis playing Veo Senya, the Tabaxi Gloomstalker Ranger Rogue, and Rudy Whitaker, the Shifter Eldritch Knight.
And Joel Gorman playing Wrath, the Azamar Warlock, and Pluto Jackson, the Human Battlemaster.
We are the Dungeon Dudes. Kelly and I create all sorts of D&D content here on YouTube, so be sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, so that you never miss any of our episodes.
You can also join us on Tuesday evenings when we premiere these episodes right here on YouTube. You can check us out at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can also check us out as an audio-only podcast as well.
And big news, of course, if you supported Monsters of Drakkenheim, our third book on Kickstarter, that book is now available to you if you backed it. You can get your PDF copy, and if you got it on D&D Beyond, you can also get your D&D Beyond copy by logging into your backer kit and getting your redemption codes. For those that might have missed out on the original Kickstarter campaign, the digital edition of the book on both PDF through the Ghostfire Gaming Store and D&D Beyond is also now available. If you happen to back the campaign and are still waiting on delivery of your physical copies of the books, those are still on the way. Everything's in printing, in manufacturing. We're hopeful that it's going to be shipping later this year. We're all on track for that at this point, but right now, a bunch of the digital rewards are already available. So I think the STLs of all the miniatures are available. The PDF of the book, the D&D Beyond version, the Roll20 and Foundry versions are still on the way at time of recording. But beyond that, a big thank you to all of our backers for helping us polish this book. We've been hearing so many great things about people using these new monsters in their D&D games or their Drakenheim campaigns specifically. We put a lot of work into this book and we're super proud of it. So be sure to download your copy if you back the Kickstarter. And if you are watching this far into the show and you have not already got a copy of our books, consider it. It's a great way to support the channel and everything that we do here as well. With that, let us return to Drakenheim.
Drakenheim is no more. The devastation which fell upon that accursed place left a kingdom in ruin. Now, horrors lurking in the haze grow ever more great and terrible, while simmering tensions between rival factions boil over into outright war. The power of monarchs, mages, and priests hangs in the balance. 6 unlikely heroes join forces to confront the coming chaos. They shall decide, once and for all, the fate of Drakenheim.
When last we left our heroes, we had the conclusion of an epic duel at Castle Draken, with a long-awaited resolution to political turmoil, culminating in the defeat of Katarina von Kessel by Wilhelm von Kessel in single combat. As our heroes depart Castle Draken and return back to Camp Dawn, the looming decisions and actions weigh heavily on your minds. There's still much to do. Nevertheless, Lucretia Matthias and the Queen of Thieves are dead. The power of the followers of the Falling Fire are scattered and broken, and it seems likely that without the Queen of Thieves to unite them, the remaining Queen's men will quickly descend back into their own infighting ways. As you return back to Camp Dawn, what's on your characters' minds?
Okay, I'll start.
Who are you?
Well, I think first, let's start with Wilhelm. Wilhelm has a lot of mixed emotions right now. in the moment, he felt that he was doing what he needed to do to secure the kingdom and protect it. But as he travels back to Camp Dawn, he starts thinking about it and realizes that in his time on this adventure, he went from dedicated farmhand to King of Westamar, and in the process managed to find 2 remaining members of his family and kill them both. And he thinks, yeah, he killed his aunt, who was a mutated monster, in the dungeons of Drakkenheim. And then he just fought a one-on-one duel against his cousin and killed her. And his goal originally, when he set out on this adventure, he was filled with vengeance for wanting to slay the man who killed his family. He forgave that man and went on to kill the remaining members of his family.
Are we related? Because I hope not.
Loosely, yeah.
Ah, no.
Well, yeah, we are.
Ah,
So that's
there we know. It's it.
that's weighing heavily on Wilhelm right now. That in his desperate quest to avenge his family, he has ended up having to put down what was left of it in an attempt
So you
to.
just have like that 1,000-yard stare, where
Yeah.
you're just like sort of like, what?
Wilhelm's not feeling too great. He doesn't tell anybody this, but there's a lot of duality in his thoughts. On one hand, he believes that what he did was necessary to secure a Westamar that could move forward and actually grow as a nation beyond its civil war and broken landscape that it has been for 15 years. And he feels like he did what was necessary, and that, one member of his family was a horrible mutated monster. There was no changing that. And the other one was literally titled the Queen of Thieves and was a mage born trying to steal the crown of Westamar for herself. And so when it came down to it, he's questioning what family really means and whether family is blood or if family is something else, thinking of the people around him. But at the same time, he feels quite distraught about this. Should I do my other character? Do one of you guys?
Yeah,
want
why
to-
not?
And I think, because Rudy's been around you a long time, Rudy, seeing and can read Wilhelm, knows this, walks beside you but doesn't say anything to you. And I think she's feeling like she knows how hard that was for you, and that this is actually the shaking off of those holds of what caused things like the Civil War, things that really caused discontent within. And in a way, feels that this was a clearing to the path forward of what we wanted to achieve. So while it was hard, and Rudy knows that sometimes you got to make hard decisions, it is about family who sticks with you. And so while not saying anything, she's kind of just like putting those pat vibes on Wilhelm as she's walking with him silently.
I mean, there is very much a vibe that, like, when Wilhelm does consider family, there is an element of it that you were more of a parental figure to Wilhelm, because his parents died. He was in his teens, so like he wasn't a baby when they died, but still, like, he ended up living a lot of his growth as a person came from living in your barn and helping you at home, helping you be the sheriff, like just helping you.
Yeah.
And so, there is, as you are walking beside him, there is that sort of, that peace that does come to his mind of like, he looks to you as family.
Well, I think Rudy's like, well, Rudy thinks he doesn't need me to mother him anymore. He's not a young child anymore. He's king of Westmar, but that doesn't mean he doesn't need someone there. So she's just there, just behind you, knowing that like, we're here, we're doing the right thing. And she's just kind of nodding along.
What about Wrath or Pluto?
Wrath didn't really know her. Just was a woman who Wilhelm stabbed to death in the throne room. But Pluto can feel the weight of things. I killed a guy, and I regret it.
Which one?
Hey!
Oh,
Are we talking?
Oh, we're keeping track. We're keeping track. Okay. Hey, man. I feel the weight of my decisions, and I've had to come to terms with it. And I know you will too. It's probably a lot harder doing it to someone that is family. But I mean, how much did Wilhelm know the Queen of Thieves /
I mean,
like,
obviously he hadn't seen her since he was like 17, 18. Like they probably were in a lot of like, there was a lot of like traveling to the castle for meetings and family affairs and things like that. And so he knew of her. But if we do think back, the first time he met her, she was the Queen of Thieves, but like Wilhelm attempted to like be like, oh my gosh, it's a remaining member of my family, and like it's so good to see you. And then they kind of like butted heads a little bit, but they both tried to like be family, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
It is true though that like both Lucretia Matthias and the Queen of Thieves had a lot of interactions with Pluto, Sebastian, and Veo, and yet both were ultimately defeated by Wilhelm.
The king, the true king. So Pluto definitely feels the weight of things. Obviously, things will get better over time, but it's a little fresh right now. So give you your distance. Wrath, I don't think really knew her, other than of her, and I mean, I think we openly mocked her title on occasion, but he can see that it does affect his friend. So
we're friends?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because you're king and I'm the most important mage in Drakkenheim, so obviously we're friends. And yeah, I again just trying to give you some like, not counsel, just more like breathing room, because obviously that looked difficult. And Wrath is also in his own world. he's doing his own thing.
I think Sebastian has a lot of emotions. And no, he wouldn't. Sebastian is walking at the back. If you guys remember, when we all walked out, he was at the back, and he actually stopped and like just stared at the church where her body was for like a while. And he knows that it's misplaced, but right now he's actually angry at Wilhelm.
Yeah.
And everybody's like gathering around Wilhelm, being like, "Oh, buddy, it's okay," and he's just like, "Well, I didn't even know her." Like, but he's also conflicted because like Sebastian has this thing where he realizes, so like his biggest fear, which is funny because he's a self-fulfilling prophecy so often, and he's aware that he's a self-fulfilling prophecy so often, but he realizes that in order to set the stage for defeating the Queen of Thieves, which he never wanted to kill her, he never wanted her to die, but he knew that there wasn't really another option, but in order to do that, he had to lie to her. the way that lie and manipulate, which is what she always did to him. And he never wanted to be that person. But now that she's gone, he's like, not only did I do that to her, but her and I were basically like, we're two sides of the same coin. Like, am I any better than she ever was? And he's looking back at Drakkenheim and like thinking also of what they have left to do, and he's just starting to wonder if, like, I don't know, if the path he took to get here, if it's going to be worth it.
Ooh. Traveling back with you to Camp Dawn are, of course, the retinue that you have established. At the throne room was some other members of the Queen's Men who have made themselves scarce since. Eliza was there, but she has left on her own as well. Ophelia Reed is quite quiet as she holds in her hands what Eliza gave her earlier, which is the golden delirium shard that purportedly bears the soul of Lucretia Matthias within it, who had passed away en route to Lumen. And Eliza acquired this somehow. Wilhelm, you can tell that the other members of the Silver Order that are present are a little... Maybe Wilhelm's too distracted by his own thoughts to note that, but Ophelia Reed is not really talking to anyone about acknowledging that she has this item, which... but she's still holding it.
I think with Veo, would she notice? Would Veo notice?
Depends on what Veo's focused on right now. Is Veo focused on Wilhelm and Sebastian, or still worried about the situation at large?
Veo, I think, feels something a little bit different than everybody else. She feels lighter. In the sense of, one of the people she's always had to look around corners for is the Queen of Thieves. And there is a string that has been cut that she feels like she does not have to worry. So she knows Sebastian is upset. She knows Wilhelm has lots of support right now. She doesn't want to overwhelm him, but she is just feeling lighter than she has in a while because the Queen of Thieves has always been a thorn in her side. So she's kind of looking for her place right now because she doesn't feel necessarily like that energy is good at the front. It's not good with Sebastian, but kind of keeping an eye out on Sebastian. But I feel like she maybe would hone in on that other energy that's happening.
Yeah. What do you do?
I just want to be her shadow, I guess, for a bit. Be a little bit back from her and make sure that she's not gonna get picked on or like anyone's gonna approach her, because Ophelia is one of the people that Veo respects a lot.
How subtle do you want to be about that?
Maybe subtle for Ophelia, but not subtle for the others who may be...
Okay. Give me a stealth check.
28.
Okay. Ophelia Reed... You watch as Ophelia Reed looks around. And in a moment where the other Knights of the Silver Order seem to be looking away, Ophelia very carefully looks around and to see if anyone is watching her. And it doesn't seem like she notices you watching her. And in that moment, she takes the chain that the shard is wrapped around, places it over her neck, and tucks it underneath her clothes.
Interesting.
Yeah. And your best read of that is that she didn't think anyone saw her do that.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, I guess, in that way. But we'll keep an eye on it.
What's she up to? I don't know.
Veo's the only one that's noticed that.
Yeah.
So That's
So I'm
up to
spy
up to her
master,
if
so,
she's gonna
I see
reveal
the
that
things.
information.
Ask her about her neck and what accessories
Yeah.
she loves with her neck. But make it subtle.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let her know that I know.
Mhm.
That she knows she did the. Yeah.
And Sebastian behind you see something, and he's like, Dale knows something, but I don't know what she knows. And I'm not going to let
My
her.
tail switching.
Yeah.
He's like, I know that switch of that tail.
I'm not going to
Something's
let
going
her
on.
know that I know that she knows something.
You proceed it through the courtyard of Castle Draken.
I twiddle my thumbs.
And Elias Drexel
No, no,
says, Your Majesty, I have conferred with several of the other soldiers, and we are going to start posting a garrison here at Castle Draken. There are still several halls and outbuildings of the castle that are dangerous and filled with monsters, but I feel like it is time for us to make sure that this location is secure, and the Lord Steward has asked for access to his tower. He believes that there are years' worth of important royal records and would like your permission to have a garrison stationed here so that he may continue that important work.
Very well. That sounds like a good move.
Elias Drexel says, I feel a little bit uneasy about Johann coming into this far into the city. He's not a soldier, and so escorting him here to the castle on a daily basis is still going to be a risky operation. Are you okay with that? Because we can't station anyone overnight here.
Could he be stationed at the clock tower?
Is Feo asking?
Coming out as a shadow. Could he be?
Well, if he needs access to the records in the castle, then he'll have to get there, but perhaps we can bring the
He
records
can stay
to
at
him.
the garrison. We have quarters at the City Watch garrison. He'll be safer there, obviously, and
Can we send more capable scouts to retrieve the information from the castle tower and bring it to the garrison for him?
Johann Eisner says that's certainly a possibility. There's just a lot that I would prefer to get organized again, but that's a great idea. If there, Your Majesty, there's just so much administratively that needs to be put back in place, and I know that's been a heavy day of activity, but chief amongst those things, even today, we should prepare your own will.
We
Yeah.
probably should have done it before the duel to the death, but hindsight, 2020.
I mean, fair, and with what's coming, it might be best that we do that because we all need to be prepared for the likelihood that none of us make it out of the War of Drakkenheim alive.
Could you guys polymorph my dad into a dragon so he can fly himself?
Probably.
Okay, so Johann Eisner, no, because he is Johann Eisner with true polymorph. You have to transform someone into something that is equal to their level or challenge rating, and Johann Eisner has a challenge rating of 0.
Aw, poor guy.
Well.
Poor guy.
Yeah,
So I was
he is a complete non-combatant.
Could we use our mechanical dragon to fly
I was
him
thinking,
into the
like,
city
what would
every
it
day?
cost? Because
Airbus.
for like the whole idea of sending scouts, like, could we send a moving company? We go, look, we're dumping everything out of the tower. Like, how much resources would it take to empty the tower of all the documents and give them back to Johann Eisner in like another room where he could start to sort and file?
Johann Eisner says, as long as the emptying the archive is probably a task that would take at least a week to transport everything out and make sure that it's organized, but if it could be set up in the garrison, he said, my preference would just be that it is kept in a secure area.
Well, just to be frank, Johann, you're not going to sort and organize all the files overnight. So emptying the garrison, or emptying the tower, doesn't actually need to be any faster than what it takes you to organize and sort these documents. So we start with one group that goes and brings back as much as they can carry.
Certainly.
And then you probably have a week to sort and file that. Hopefully a week from today, Drakenheim is easier
fixed. It's totally
to
fixed.
traverse.
We just done.
The Elias Drexel says, Your Majesty, I'm not sure what's going to happen with future activities, but it is still important to be mindful that as much progress as we've made, unless whatever happens in the next week makes all of the delirium in the city miraculously disappear, it is not going to be safe for people to move through the city without guard for a very, very long time.
I said safer, not safe. Safer than it is right now. If we move our forces in and start purging the city of monsters and destroy the delirium heart, there's a good chance that traversing becomes easier as time goes on.
Yes. I think, though, that is a change that has happened, certainly, and I'm proud of the progress that we've made. But I agree with you. I would feel better about Johann Eisner doing his work in the garrison rather than in Castle Draken.
We worked very hard to get Johann back. The last thing we need is to lose him again.
Yeah, no.
Especially as a non-combatant.
Protect that man at all costs.
Need to put him into a...
Very well. As you walk out the courtyard of Castle Draken and begin heading down the long path from the cliffs to the city and to leave, you actually do notice that slumped and sitting outside the castle gates overlooking the city, Eliza is sitting there with her head in her hands.
Rudy is gonna go up to her actually and say, hold on.
You're sure?
Yep.
Okay.
Liza?
She looks up, and as she does, the wingless angel that she's traveled with is with her, and he kind of makes a protective pose as you approach, but Eliza looks up and says nothing to you.
How you doing?
She rolls her eyes and puts her head back in her hands.
Rudy goes and sits beside her.
She sobs quietly.
I understand. You must be feeling all sorts of things. Coming to Drakkenheim, it's no easy place. You have to be willing to lose as much as you're willing to gain here. And I know you had some feelings about your sister, but I'm sorry. Losing family's never easy.
Give me a persuasion check.
16.
What do you do when you could fix it, when you can change it?
Can or coulda.
There's always something you can do.
You're right. There is always something you can do.
I mean, Sebastian brought me back from hell.
Mm-hmm. See, how I look at it is, no matter what you done or didn't do, all you can do is do the next right thing. Take the next step forward. And try to do what's best for the most folks.
As Rudy sits here, what do your other characters do?
We're just like walking out of the castle.
Yeah, so if you imagine, like, Castle Draken is perched on a cliff, and then there's the roadway that leads down from the castle. And so the main gate to the castle courtyard, Eliza, is here. And so it's kind of a vantage point where you actually get a pretty spectacular view of the city itself, because the you're on the cliff. You can see the clock tower, the crater. Like you can see all the devastation of the city laid out in front of you. The swirling mist of the haze as night is beginning to fall. The clock tower, the inscrutable tower, the cathedral, the crater, all the landmarks are visible from here. And then you can continue down sort of the fortified path down to the old town itself. So most people are continuing to proceed.
I think Pluto kind of sees Sebastian. Being kind of sad.
I think Sebastian also...
I was going to check in with you, big guy.
So I imagine Sebastian has gone and actually sat on a rock overlooking the city. And actually in earshot, because he's pretending that Rudy's words are also for him. And he doesn't want anybody to know that. So he's gone and he's just sitting by himself looking out over the city. Near, but like not too near. And then, yeah, Pluto, you come over
I'm
and...
going to come sit beside you. I'm not going to say anything. Just be.
As everyone else sits down, Eliza has a very annoyed look on her face. And
we're all sitting in her space.
And
I'm trying to be out, like, I was trying to be far enough away.
And she stands up abrupt, like as soon as she sees other people sitting down here, she stands up and she looks around for a moment and starts down the path.
Can I do something before she does?
Sure.
I want to knock the back of her knees out, and I want her to fall on her butt.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Give me an attack roll.
Don't you walk away from me.
Not even that. 21.
21.
I want to see where this goes.
Okay. So I'll have her make a
knock her down.
strength saving throw DC. Okay. So yeah, you knock her prone. She falls and tumbles to the ground. And as she tumbles downward, she grunts out in pain, and her angelic friend stands up, and there's like a crackle of radiant energy that sparks in his eyes, and Eliza starts to compose her, like turn herself around.
And I kind of... Rudy puts her hand up to the angel to be like, all right, I'm done. Kind of like, you don't need to get so riled up. And I stand up. I look over the other two. We're kind of in the space. And I turn to Eliza and I say, listen, you've been to hell and back. Got lots going on. I get it. You're grieving. You don't want people in your space. Maybe you need to take a second, though. Have some rest. Take your time. Don't go stomping off because people be getting in your space. We'll go. But think about it. And if you need us, you know where to find us.
Give me a persuasion check with disadvantage, because you just knocked her over and that.
20.
I just want to be left alone.
All right. Let's go.
I'm like far away.
Are you-
Pluto. I'm like a good 15.
I don't have to say it, but I'm just
Did
like...
Rudy just knock over Eliza?
Yeah, I'm like sitting there solemnly and I kind of turn. I'm like, what is going on over there? Do you like come up to us?
Yeah. And say, let's go.
Did you just beat up Eliza?
I didn't beat her up. She was standing and getting all sassy and she just needed to sit down for a sec.
Okay.
I guess, yeah.
I mean,
Listen, we came into her space and she was gonna get up.
I
said,
think we should
"Sit
just
down
leave her
and she can
alone."
go."
Yeah, we should probably get out of here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was just sitting over here on my rock. It's my rock, by the way. I wrote my name on it
Oh,
using mold earth. It says Sebastian's rock on it.
well,
Thanks, Pluto.
Should probably, we should probably let her grieve her dead sister.
I just tripped her. She's fine.
Maybe we should go.
She, as you all turn to leave, she just shakes her head. And as Wilhelm passes, she just has she glares at Wilhelm and Sebastian.
I think she's the new enemy.
Wilhelm looks at her and doesn't do anything, just he makes eye contact with her and with his one eye. And he just looks devastated. And he just makes eye contact with her and immediately just lowers his head. He knows that there's no point talking to her. There's no the solemn look on his face and the quick lowering of the head indicates in my mind that he locks eyes with her and basically is like, your anger is justified and I understand it and I respect it and I receive it. And so he just acknowledges that, kind of gives her a nod, not in a hey, but just a yeah, okay sort of way, and then just continues on his way. And Sebastian doesn't even look back at her. He just doesn't want to deal with that right now. So he picks up his stuff and carries on.
Yeah, to kind of summarize, she started following the falling fire, and then we murdered her follower, the person in charge of that.
We didn't murder her.
Killed her.
Old age killed
We
her.
didn't. We were very...
We took away her
gentle.
reason to live, and then we, in front of everyone, killed her sister.
Yeah, well, Eliza seems confused because literally the last time she told us anything, it was, I want to murder my sister. So, favor done. You're welcome.
I'll be expecting the...
She wanted
part
to
of
do
the-
it herself.
Yeah,
She's mad she didn't get
Oh,
the
what, she can't
opportunity.
accept help?
Rudy, you can give me one perception check.
23.
All that you notice through all this, Eliza was holding on to something tightly in her hand, but you couldn't see what it was.
Oh, Eliza has something too?
Everybody's got something.
Everybody's wearing stuff and holding stuff that's clearly plot important. And I'm just sitting here going doodle-doo, doodle-doo, watch the duel going down the street.
Well, yeah, okay. So Rudy notices that Wilhelm and Sebastian doesn't even look her way. He actually had his back to her because he just wanted to hear Rudy's kind words.
Yeah, Rudy, specifically what you notice is that when you knocked Eliza over, the way that she broke her, caught her fall, normally you would expect someone to open their hand to do that, your experience stuff, but she kind of fell on her shoulder and was gripping something tightly in her hand that she clearly didn't want to drop.
And it fit in her hand.
Her hand was balled as a fist, yeah.
Something from the Queen of Thieves.
I don't know.
We'll never know. That's what Rudy was trying to do. He's trying to unearth.
Something she was holding.
Yeah.
I was trying to be supportive, and
Very
then she got
smart.
sassy.
You just knocked
I'm
her.
just like, don't sass me.
Sometimes tough love is the right way to go,
Sometimes.
Sometimes when you're sad, you need a friend to be like, get out of the house. Come on.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need someone to kick you while you're down.
That's all, Rudy.
That's the most important lesson that we all learned today.
She didn't kick her while she was down. She kicked her down. She
Kicked her
tripped
down. You only kicked her down. No one else. There was no follow-up kick.
It wasn't mean. It was.
No, I very much get it. You weren't even trying to hurt her. It was basically she stood up and you were like, sit back
She
down.
went to go. I'm
Sit back down.
Sit back down.
Yeah. No, I get it. I
In
get
Rudy's
it.
own way.
Yeah.
I don't know if she understood that.
Yeah,
I
she
think that was
definitely did.
totally
That's okay.
missed.
That's
but
okay.
we should.
I understood
Your
what
dad was there.
I understood what you were doing, and I appreciated it.
You're good.
Yeah, no, I get it. I think that's nice.
Listen, if you don't understand Rudy,
Rudy's school, tough love.
Yeah.
She grew up in hell, so you can't
Don't you
blame
walk
her.
away from
okay?
me. Don't you walk away from me. I'm talking to you.
I'm being nice.
Yeah, it's very clear that whatever your intentions were not received.
Well, that's on
yeah.
Eliza.
So funny.
That's yeah.
Great.
I think
I gave out the vibes.
I think you did the right vibes. I caught the vibes.
Up until the point that you knocked her over, yes.
Just behind your knees.
Including the knockover, I think the vibes were immaculate. And I think Eliza has been through way worse than getting knocked over and given tough love. So
By a grandma.
by a grandma.
It's fine.
Yeah, you're like the grandma with the
Actually,
cane.
I'm going to say that Johann comes up to Rudy and says, "Why did you do that?"
Why did I talk to her, or why did I knock her over?
Yeah, why did you knock her over? That was completely uncalled for.
You know what?
She is still a princess of Drakkenheim, and despite your whatever position you may have at the king's hands, treating her that way was inappropriate.
Listen. Sometimes.
I'll knock you over.
Yeah, knock him over.
Yeah, just go. Knock over whoever you want.
Johann over. Maybe it's my flaw. It is my flaw. But sometimes people in different ways need reminded of different things. And if she didn't get it, she didn't get it. My bad. But you know what?
Baroness Whitaker, there is a time and a place for tough love, and this was not it. He said, "You can already see the contempt that burns in her towards the rest of us, and the last thing that Wilhelm needs is any more contempt from Eliza towards him and the rest of his regime.
All right.
There are many, many that after the actions of today will take what Wilhelm has done over the past 3 weeks as evidence that the Civil War has not ended. And giving Eliza any opportunity to raise any sentiments to the contrary is not what we need right now."
All right. I apologize. I don't want to make it more difficult, but people learn their lessons in their own ways too.
Johann Eisner says, "Despite what we have found out today about Eliza's magical abilities, about the consequences of this duel, this will not... We are on a fine line right now with Wilhelm. There will be others that will look at what has happened with the followers of the Falling Fire, and that will look at the consequences of today, and now every decision that Wilhelm makes will be scrutinized. Unless he has clear successes, the strongest suit that Wilhelm has right now is that he is being successful in bringing this nation back together and protecting it from Drakkenheim. But if the rest of the nobility, if any of the other nobility begin to get any doubt about this, or if they are unhappy with the decisions that Wilhelm has made, and there is an alternative heir present, regardless of any sort of stipulations that might exist, it only takes a little bit of encouragement. And strictly speaking right now, Johann says, it is fortunately, the crimes that Katerina committed will give us the reasoning that we need to the rest of the nobility to justify why her execution was necessary.
I mean, I think there's lots of pieces before that showed that it was necessary.
I don't disagree with you. But nevertheless, her sister is alive, and killing both of them is not necessarily something that would be wise politically for Wilhelm.
Of course not.
Who was going to kill Eliza? Nobody's.
Your Majesty, no one wants that.
Good. I don't think that was on the table.
But I am concerned I must voice my concern that there certainly are. There is a narrative that could be built around your actions that could be used to sow dissent. And that is a threat to the stability of your reign and the legitimacy of your crown. Slaying your cousins.
I've only slain one cousin, and she was the Queen of Thieves and a Mageborn.
Indeed. Indeed. I am simply worried and expressing my concerns to you. You look at your actions and you have experienced them firsthand and you see the justifications for those actions. But there are others who are not here, who are not present, who have not seen what you have seen or experienced what you have experienced. You have dealt personally with all of the dukes, and I am confident that you have their allegiance and their support. But it could very well be that in the future, a future crisis, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, unrelated to anything that happens here today, is the beginning of a breaking of that trust. And that this opportunity, that this moment, is then used to justify some other aggression against you. Eliza is a delicate matter. You will have to consider carefully how you would like to view that situation, because this is not the first time in your family that the lines of succession have become blurred or skipped over because of some mageborn in your family. And it has been rocky for the Von Kessels yourself, entirely. It is also true that George, too, represents another impressionable potential heir to the throne. And I want to see your reign successful. I very much do. But I must warn you that you have, and I have no doubt that you have the best intentions for Westamar, for this kingdom, and for your people. But I worry that others who do not necessarily have the best intentions for Westamar, but rather have ulterior motives of their own, and would rather hold keys of power closer than what they may be offered under your leadership, may one day look at these situations and look at what has happened here today and use those as opportunities and use those as reasons to question the legitimacy of your reign.
Okay.
Can I, vibing out the feel, this Pluto, so you're saying that maybe we gotta lay on some thick sauce with Eliza, maybe give her some space, maybe be nice to her for a little bit, really kind of, because, that is sort of feeling like the generation, that's like a evil backstory. What I'm watching.
I'm simply saying that I don't know where her mind is at. It is difficult for me to ascertain. And I know that your thoughts are already burdened with the choices that you have had to make this day. But Your Majesty, I just do not want you to be haunted by ghosts in the future, by ghosts of the decisions that you made in this process. And I beg you to simply consider that once you have saved this kingdom, it will fall to you to rule it.
I'm aware.
And history has shown that it is easier to save a kingdom than to rule it.
All that I have right now is the days in front of me, and I will continue to make the decisions that I think are best for Westamar and for the people of this nation. What happens in the future, all I can do is my best. And when the future comes, whatever problems arise, I will do my best with those too.
Johann takes your hand. Your Majesty, you are a good man. And you will be a good king. I do not want to see history paint your legacy as a tyrant.
Neither do
Because
I.
you do not deserve that.
I don't plan to take actions to make that so, and I understand that you're saying that people can skew my actions, but I've only done what I felt was necessary. And I think, to come back to the point, perhaps you're right, we shouldn't knock Eliza on her butt when she's misbehaving,
All right.
but
maybe in the future, come find a way to extend that olive branch.
I would love to
Think of some ideas.
I would love to extend an olive branch to Eliza. I have a lot that I'd like to say to her, but I just fear that, as I'm being told right now, now is not the right time for
Yeah.
me to do so.
Let's give her some.
I want nothing more than to help Eliza and to let her know that she is a part of this family and she has a place here. But whether she would take my offer or even want to hear my words, I don't know. And I don't feel like offering them to her when they will just sound hollow, and they are not hollow. I would rather protect Eliza. She's the only family I really have left. And she has done nothing wrong.
Indeed. But there is still much to do. Let us head back to camp.
Let's get out of here.
Yes. I think I have ideas on what our next steps are. Let's get back to camp and hold a meeting.
Are we gonna walk back?
I can fly a dragon back.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you can dragon it back if you want to.
All right, here comes the long ride out of Drakkenheim.
Should we
See
bring
you guys
some
later.
of the? Should we bring some of the paper for Johann? Can we at least grab a couple of boxes?
Well, there's a big old thing.
Take a couple bankers boxes on the dragon. Yeah.
Just throw them in, just
Yeah,
to get them started.
sure.
We're all here. If everyone grabs a little bit.
We load a satchel up with documents
Alrighty.
and strap it to the
At least
dragon.
some
The
important.
procession leaves with Eliza still looking out over the city. And you all head back to Camp Dawn as dusk settles in. And the consensus is that there will be much to discuss tomorrow, but for tonight, everyone's deserved a long rest.
Deserve.
Yep. As day breaks the next day, Camp Dawn is woken up rather suddenly the next day by another string of earthquakes. The ground shaking around Drakenheim, and the rest of the day opens with a downpour of rain and thunder and lightning. There is general grumbling and dismay within the camp regarding the weather, but ditches are dug, the camp stays drained but muddy, and extra fires are lit to keep the soldiers warm. The forces that have amassed here, of the nobility, several Caspians, the bannermen of House von Baden has sent its soldiers as well, and members of the Silver Order. There is some discussion amongst the Silver Order of whether or not Uriel Radley will return to Drakkenheim now that his charge has been abated. but it seems that whether or not that will occur is up in the air.
Is Verona von Baden here?
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Just asking. Just
Yep.
asking if she's at the party, you know.
Just asking.
Yeah.
As you're slicking your hair back.
Yeah.
How
Trying
do I
on
look? How do I look?
Yeah. Veo, I imagine Veo is like licking her paw and like fixing.
Bleh. Bleh.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Spy Master.
There has been some discussion of reopening some of the other manor houses that are in the area to provide better accommodations for some of essentially there's been some conversations around. There's now a lot of administrative individuals that are camped on, like Johann Eisner, people who aren't necessarily going to be combatants, but more those who are members of your cabinet of advisors and counsel. And some conversation has emerged over, should some of the abandoned estates in the area, should one of them be opened back up again and used as a de facto court rather than a tent at Camp Dawn. But candidates for that are still arising. Yeah.
There's an old vineyard might work nearby. I wonder if they still have wine in the basement.
Well, that's within the haze. You need somewhere that's not in the haze.
Yeah, for those who are about to die, they sleep in tents. But for those who are just like doing paperwork, they need desks, chairs, beds. Like it's important because like
well,
they can take advantage of like the
it's less of a.
Oh, sorry. Was I supposed to say that out
You
loud?
said that out loud. There's like 10 soldiers
Yeah.
nearby just kind of like turn and look at you.
No, it's less so that
They salute you.
It's more that just as Johann Eisner brought up before, it's more that there is need now for an administrative hub that is more permanent than a campsite.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Somewhere that can be
used. Out
Yeah.
of the office.
Yeah, if you're gonna die within the next 2 weeks, you get a sleeping bag. That's just how it goes.
Now,
When you're marching in, baby.
your next steps, as things come together, Elias Drexel sits the 6 of your characters down in one private meeting. Again, present this morning are Ophelia Reed, Johann Eisner, Eldrick Runeweaver, and Gloria Hackfield. Elias Drexel begins the meeting with in a way that he has done so for many of these meetings, by giving a high-level summary of the strategic position that the military forces hold right now. He begins. Right now, we have solid placements of our troops, obviously here at Camp Dawn, Shepherd's Gate, the City Watch Barracks, with contingents at Castle Draken and the Clock Tower.
Have we secured the cathedral?
We also have secured the cathedral. Thank you. The Amethyst Academy has secured the Inscrutable Tower. We are continuing to scout the perimeter, and we're meeting some resistance on several different fronts. With our increased presence of soldiers, I have put down the order that scavenging in Drakkenheim is prohibited.
Ooh.
And our soldiers have had clashes with groups of, shall we say, scavengers coming from Emberwood Village.
Like Queensman?
No.
Like adventurers?
Yes.
People are still trying to adventure in Drakkenheim? I mean, I guess they always have.
You
Yeah.
fools!
Indeed. There has also been... We also had an incident earlier with one dealer of delirium known as Orson Fairweather, who was stationed in Emberwood Village, who was very upset about the crash of his business operations. Since we've imposed more restrictions on who may explore the city, such merchants have been buying delirium to sell outside, and we've cracked down on a lot of that.
Orson Fairweather?
Indeed.
He's the main seller. I think this is Sebastian. Yeah, he's the guy. He's the guy in the town that sells delirium, and he kind of gave us tips on how to handle it early on. Yeah. I think we talked to him like twice. Don't worry about it. Like,
Yeah, I was like, who?
Vale, you didn't live in Emberwood, okay? Orson's
He continues.
in the.
You would have known this name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He continues and says, the economy of Emberwood Village for many years was supported entirely by adventurers and and various members of our different agents exploring the city. And so now there is very little with our control in place now and more solid over the ruins. There is actually less. This whole thing has come tumbling apart. Nevertheless, I've seen to it that supplies have been provided to the people of Emberwood Village, so that they're no longer dependent on income from the delirium trade to support the town. We do have soldiers that are placed there at the watchtower there as well. We are seeing a dispersal of the followers of the Falling Fire, and I am planning a assault on Buckledown Row to clear out any remaining bandits that might be lurking in the ruins. There's a few other locations that I've pinpointed. We will also send some soldiers to Champion's Gate to disperse any remaining members of the followers of the Falling Fire who may be there.
Looking over the map of Drakkenheim, Wilhelm points out, it looks like at this point we have secured the entire western side of Drakkenheim.
Secured is a strong word.
We have
On this map, there's a lot of pins. That's pretty good.
I'm just saying that is the cathedral, the Amethyst Academy Tower, the barracks, the gate, and the clock tower all rest from the middle of Drakenheim going west.
Yes.
So a lot of points for us there. We can move through the west, and even the castle is accessible from the west. It's obviously the center north, but that's a lot of ground that we have covered. And obviously the southeast is the most dangerous part of Drakenheim.
Indeed. We are in a position to, with the help of the rest of the soldiers that have assembled here, begin demolition and cleanup operations. We have been in conversation with representatives sent by Ryan Graymere of the Amethyst Academy on ways that we can begin safely collecting the delirium and cleaning up the city for destruction.
So Ryan Graymere has agreed to work with us. I know that she wanted to talk to me, and I still plan to do that.
Yes, a conversation is still needed because the Academy would still prefer that they are given permission to harvest the delirium that is still here and put it to productive use rather than outright destroying it. I have mixed feelings about that, but ultimately, Your Majesty, that is your decision.
I think that we have a very nuanced decision that we need to make here, because on one hand, Ryan Graymere proves to be an ingenious asset, and the only director so far that I have heard about or had dealings with that seems like we may be able to actually work with her. The rest of the directorate, I'm unsure of. But making an enemy of the directorate could prove a fatal mistake at this point.
And you should. We talked about it, but you didn't get to see the amazing things they're doing there.
It sounds...
Some very scary, but also some amazing things for Drakenheim.
It sounds incredible and exactly like... I want to destroy delirium. But if the power of delirium can be use, rendering it inert, to help secure and clean the outsourced delirium, there's no way that anybody that we have at our disposal is going to clean up Ash Bay. That is set up to be a new Drakkenheim if we do not deal with it. Ryan Greymere is our best chance to actually stop that from happening.
Eldritch Remover says, using the stones to destroy the stones seems like the most pragmatic option we have at our disposal. And he turns to Gloria Hackfield. Is the Silver Order willing to accept this? And Gloria Hackfield says, as long as we see a strong commitment to the cleanup and destruction of Delirium happening, and that the Academy is not utilizing this magic for nefarious purposes. These are evil stones, no matter what way you slice it. This is what I'll say. We know from the reports of Sebastian Crow, Paluto, and Vale that there's a big old central rock of Delirium in the middle of that crater.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we would rather see that destroyed completely. From our estimation, it's the anchor of this whole thing. As long as that is destroyed, and we see a continued commitment by the Academy to use the Delirium for its own destruction, we can work with that. But if that situation changes, we're going to be watching.
You have my word that that is the exact argument that I plan to bring to Ryan Greymere.
Then we can work with that.
I also want to point out something. As noted by Elias during our current briefing, economically, we're trying to hard shift these people away from scavenging Drakenheim for these rocks that they can sell for quite a profit. That's something that's going to be hard to do overnight. So now that you've outlawed basically scavenging, and you're going to shut down the trade.
Well, didn't you say didn't Wilhelm decree that it was a resource?
It was a resource of Drakenheim.
Elias Drexel says yes. The decree has been that all Delirium is the property of the nation of Westamar. It is a claim that is being staked, that similar to a gold mine or a forest, that it is the property of the crown.
Yeah.
And the conversation here is that it is one of an economic exchange. The Delirium is being sold to the Academy in exchange for services.
Yes. So if they scavenge it.
They're breaking.
Scavengers are stealing from the crown.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that.
And I just want to also highlight that if you are attacking Buckle Down Row, and we've now scattered the remains of, which are essentially like bandits and thieves and brigands, and I feel like this place could get real bad real quick.
Yes, but fortunately we have the largest military force assembled here that Westamar has had assembled in one place in nearly a decade.
So as someone that comes from a place of punching your citizens,
Go on.
I suggest maybe the king, I'm only speaking from years and years of experience working in what some might call not a democracy. Large military force, people are forced to scavenge, and then they can't scavenge, and you just take away all their resources. What if, kind of leaning into this whole building a place, what if you really invest in Emberwood Village? Build some proper buildings, give some small business loans, really try to build that up, because like we said, it's not gonna happen overnight. Look, I'm an economic major.
What?
I'm just saying, like,
You
use all
started
this
this
money.
conversation as a guy who punches citizens,
Yeah,
and you
and I'm
moved into
I'm,
economics.
I'm telling you that, like, you know, I'm.
You're
sort of-
not wrong.
I'm seeing.
I'm
I'm
surprised.
seeing
So
a
just-
very big problem, sort of brewing. You build a bunch of housing. You build a bunch of businesses. You give people an alternative to like stealing rocks from the crown, and you. Is this the right word? You gentrify Emberwood Village so that the thieves don't want to be here. They're not welcome.
There is a possibility, Your Majesty. He says,
You hear me? You hear me?
Johann Eisner says, there actually is a possibility of this, Your Majesty.
I'm a secret genius.
We
Secret
could,
genius.
Lord Jackson has a point. We could,
Oddly, yes.
I'm scaring myself.
what we could do is allow independent agents to seek a royal writ of permission to scavenge within the ruins and allow a portion of what they collect to be them, and they would thus be paid for that with the acknowledge. It would be similar to if you, for example, if you were to own a mine, it is property of the crown. But of course, you need miners to extract a portion of that. And so, in exchange for their labor, you offer them a percentage, basically a return on what they extract.
I see this as a simple win-win. Once we're done here in Drakkenheim, I don't plan on any of us going out and scavenging delirium. So we pay scavengers. They can keep a portion. They're taxed for their collection. The tax goes to the crown, and they have to sell to the Amethyst Academy.
Yes. Keep in mind, though, someone touches delirium the wrong way, you got monsters in your midst.
I mean,
We'll run a 2-day safety course.
for the same purposes, a mine is extremely dangerous for those who don't understand how to properly do it. So people need to be educated, and obviously if you mishandle delirium, you turn into a monster, and so that's a problem.
Which funds the monster slaying economy that you have.
Then they have to pay taxes as well.
Gloria Hackfield
Double
says, now there's always going to be some measure of smuggling. But if there is a, shall we, for lack of a better term, Your Majesty, if you're allowing a legal way for this to happen, then as far as I'm concerned, this gives us a legitimate way of enforcing things.
Yeah.
So, this sounds like a solid plan to me. As long as the delirium is being controlled, and we are working towards its destruction, I think that we can be understanding here. Now, nevertheless, I have a few questions about how you're going to proceed.
Okay.
We want to see the end of what's going on in that crater, and as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But I also understand that even with all the resources that we have, the corruption and contamination in that crater means that we can't just send our soldiers in there. They'll be mutated and transformed into monsters. The haze is too thick, the contamination too strong. And so, what are you gonna do?
Well, I've been putting some thought into this, and as always, I am a ruler who likes to lead from the front. And I have with me probably some of the most powerful allies that this continent has ever seen. I don't expect to bring an army of troops into the crater, but the crater is also filled with monsters. Horrible, horrible, mutated monsters, the worst that the city has to offer.
Elias Drexel says, I'm torn on this. I don't understand. We have control of the city. I know it feels like time is of the essence. But the situation in the crater has been what it's been for 15 years. I don't understand why we can't simply work on the outskirts of the city, take as long as it needs to take, secure the perimeter around the crater, isn't that a little bit more taking our time with this? Isn't that a bit more pragmatic?
Well,
And no sooner does he finish that than Eldritch Remover says, we know that delirium grows.
Yeah.
It will take us years and years and years. And the problem with that, Commander Drexel, is that is like being on a leaking dinghy and thinking that you're going to be scooping out the water as you make your way to shore, whilst the leak is still filling the bottom of your boat.
putting a Band-Aid on a battle wound.
Indeed.
the way-
Any effort that is spent trying to clean up the city is completely pointless whilst such a wound still exists.
When it comes to a spreading disease, often you need to take out the core of that. I'm not a doctor, so this metaphor might be incorrect. But you cut off the head of the snake. Is that a better analogy?
I was going to say the patient dies if you
The-
decapitate it.
The fish
As long as it's not a
rots
Hydra.
from the head. There's many analogies. Okay, let me start over.
Because we've cut off heads before and I just made more heads.
All problems in well, not all. Okay, let me start over. The delirium problem in Drakenheim originated with the crashing of the meteor.
Very good.
Yes.
Yeah, true statement. The crashing of the meteor left behind a heart. And from that heart, delirium has spread. Removing the heart, even if delirium is everywhere, it will continue to spread. But I believe that by removing the heart, we greatly reduce the threat of delirium.
Eldritch says, the nature of delirium is such that were you to do only that, it would continue to proliferate. But it is perhaps not correct to assume that is the root or the heart, because it implies a level of dependency that is not the case. Rather, it is still because in the one sense, if you were to leave the water in the boat, another hole could simply open. And so it will require continued effort. Even with our best estimates, it will likely be a decade before the city is remotely habitable, and it will be a generation before Drakkenheim will recover. And I want to make sure that is clear. There, unless you six have some miracle up your sleeve that we haven't foreseen.
I wouldn't call it a miracle, but we do have a dragon, and we have the potential for a second dragon and a giant robot.
A robot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a robot.
I think that these are all strong assets. But I want to be clear that the cleanup is not a matter of it is just time. It is just time.
I know.
And it is hard work. And nevertheless,
But I do think the work starts at the heart
indeed.
and then works its way out from there.
Now that leaves that matter of this other dragon. Is your intention to resurrect Argonath?
It was
That was on the table.
It was
Yeah.
always on the table.
Yeah.
It was when we had talked to. I believe we made plans with Ophelia to do that, and I think Pluto with the.
With my saintliness, I think I could do it.
At least with the pieces of a saint that you have. with you.
Yeah, man.
Ophelia
I know.
Reed says,
You wear doctor's robes. You're a doctor. Am I right?
No.
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 I think, yes. If we can go to the cathedral, you have the regalia, and if we use the diamond of Mount Cadath from the vaults of Castle Draken, I can cast the spell to raise the dragon.
Amazing.
I old von Kessel's saying, 2 dragons are better than 1. So I don't see why we wouldn't want that asset on the table.
It's crazy. That's the first time I've heard you. That really
Have you not seen our
confident.
flag?
Oh. It's
With
like
the
it
2
blends
dragons?
right in.
Yeah, 2 dragons.
Blends right in. Yeah. Don't
and
really think it
written in very small font at the bottom, 2 dragons are better than 1.
Wow.
Nobody ever notices that part of
It
it.
sort of blends in. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's sort of
it's
like-
just...
Yep.
Don't even notice it.
I see it now.
I'll-
Now you said it, I can't stop seeing it.
I know, it's right there.
When do I get my dragon?
You
So it's 2
become a dragon.
dragons.
Oh.
Wrath can turn you into a dragon, and then we have 3 dragons.
dragons.
3 dragons are better than 2. It
I
says
thought-
that underneath.
I
the
thought
2
how many
dragons.
dragons is a crowd. Isn't that what it says?
Oh, yes, actually it does. But we'll rewrite the motto and
You're
say
the king, man. You're
3
the king.
dragons are better than 2 is the new second statement. Not 3 dragons are a crowd. That's an old statement.
The more dragons, the better.
Ophelia Reed says, I suppose then the only question is when you'd like to go do this.
Probably ASAP.
I have a few other things I want to put on the table as well, and then a question as a final statement. So, we also haven't secured Ryan Greymere as a full ally. I do need to go talk to her. I plan to give her a gift as an act of goodwill. We have a couple assets in our hands right now. We have the diamond, which will be used to resurrect Argonath. Ryan Greymere believes that her and I won't agree on things, and she didn't want to leave her tower to come talk to me, so I am going to go to her, and we will bring with us the perfect geode and offer it to her as a show of good faith and ask for her help in the things that we are offering. Her
What if
ally...
She says no. That she just gets the geode?
It'll be presented to her and with
As a
The
gift,
assumption
but
she's-
you have to do what we want.
as a bargaining chip
Okay. In exchange.
in exchange for
Exchange.
your services and these terms, which I think are
the
very
payment rather
are
than.
So not a
very-
gift, more of a transaction.
yes.
We're gonna make a transaction with her.
I'm going to offer her the perfect geode, which is my understanding that she needs that for the robot,
Murderbot.
the murder bot, and offer her the chance to use delirium and everything that we said today, and also to provide the 6 of us with her suits that she has
Oh.
that will allow us to go into the crater
Did-
better equipped.
Do we give those back to her?
We had to give them
I
back,
gave.
yes.
Yeah.
But
Just
in
did-
exchange for the delirium, the perfect geode, we want her to be an ally. We want to work with her. We want just help in our mission.
Very well then. Your Majesty, what is your first objective? Do you wish to go with Ophelia Reed and retrieve Argonath, or do you wish to deal with Ryan Greymere first?
Is this a moment where we need all 6 of us in one place, or is there any foreseen incidents that could come up with resurrecting the dragon? Or is this a case where myself, perhaps Rudy, and Wrath, we might need a mage, go to talk to Ryan Greymere, while Sebastian, Veo, and Pluto accompany Ophelia Reed?
Ophelia Reed says, yes, that would be more than suitable.
My last question.
I would prefer an accompaniment of a few of you. Just on this, it would be useful to, obviously, Paluto, I will need
Yep.
you there because the relics of St. Vitruvio are necessary, and Sebastian and Vea would be most welcome.
Then so it will be. My final question, though, is, before we set out, are we doing these 2 things and then heading straight for the crater, or are we going to return to Camp Dawn before the crater?
Elias Drexel turns to Gloria Hackfield and the assembly says, Your Majesty, there is no need to embark. Obviously, time is of the essence, but he looks at Eldritch Runeweaver. I understand the urgency, but this is not something that we're tracking time on days here. We could still take weeks, if not months, before we embark on this, correct?
I just wanted to make sure, because I know that we're making this push, and I just want to make sure that people get the chance to speak to those that they need to before we make a final march in the Drakenheim.
Eldrick says, indeed. It is less so naturally. There is a certain measure of... There is an urgency at play here, but not one that is so pressing as to not take the time that you need to be adequately prepared for this mission. I would strongly recommend that you ensure that you are ready for this, and that whatever resources you might need for this mission, because again, at the end of the day, we're not in a situation where we could simply wait for the Academy to build hundreds of thousands of suits of Hazewalker plate to equip an entire army. That would take us years to do that.
I don't plan for that yet.
Indeed, and in such a case, even if you had those suits of armor that Greymere has fashioned that are suitable for use in the crater, those are something that only a Grandmaster Wizard is capable of creating, and thus even the full industrial resources of the Amethyst Academy producing those day in and day out would not be able to produce enough to outfit an entire military in them. It's just not possible, I'm afraid. Similarly speaking, we could take every mage of the Amethyst Academy that was capable of casting a spell like Neutralizing Field, and we would still not have enough mages to protect every single soldier. And to the point, I must say, myself, River, as much as the Academy would like to help, there are few in the Academy that are willing to do such a thing.
We have two of the best field agents that you have with us.
Yes.
So,
well, I understand that there are many who might wonder, why don't we simply spend several years and assemble the full might of the Amethyst Academy? It's just not practical.
We don't know what else is going to come outside of Drakkenheim, potentially, and cause some trouble.
we still don't know if the remnants of the falling fire, there are those who have delirium in their hearts, who probably will not willingly leave the city. They could still be a problem. The Queen's men, we don't know where Blackjack Mel is. We don't know if he's fled and gone into hiding, or if he is pulling some scheme, or if other bandit leaders are trying to pull something together.
We don't know if he's playing a scheme. Mel's always playing a scheme.
He's scheming right now.
I mean, I won't lie, there is a good chance, from what I know about Blackjack Mel, that with the death of the Queen of Thieves, he has simply disappeared. He's a coward. He's a coward who hid behind the Queen of Thieves.
But he was in Drakenheim.
He
How much of a coward is he?
I mean, we'll see.
This opportunity to take
And
over.
that's, you're right,
I'll never know.
it is a wild card. We don't know. There's a lot of wild cards here.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually don't know if the monsters in Drakenheim are the only threat that we need to worry about. Does anybody know what is causing the earthquakes? We haven't really talked about that, but they woke me up this morning from a rather nice dream. I haven't had one in a while. They're mostly nightmares. It was very upsetting.
I have studied it somewhat. I have a small theory, if you'll indulge me, which does add a little bit of urgency.
Oh.
We have you have seen the worms, yes, that live in the crater.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
I am concerned that those creatures are reproducing.
Oh, what?
They are large, they tunnel beneath the earth, and it is possible that their tunnels are the source of this, which would be another reason why it would be best to secure the crater sooner than later.
The giant worms under the ground are causing tremors?
Earthquakes. He said.
Tremors?
He said specifically.
The tremors that we're feeling are caused by the giant worms in the earth.
Have you encountered one of these creatures before, Your Majesty?
Have I? Oh boy, who was...
Sebastian.
Was Sebastian...
You read about it.
Was Sebastian...
Sebastian was the one that mind controlled the two of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Sebastian was also the one in the crater.
Yeah.
Wilhelm... Has Wilhelm been in the crater?
No.
No.
Probably for good reason.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Like, dating thing.
No, I've just heard stories. And then Sebastian's like, yeah, I talk about it all the time. Actually.
I think Uriel Radley brought one back for the duel.
Oh yeah, I saw a dead one.
It's a
Yeah.
baby
I mean,
one.
oh yes, I saw a dead one.
It's a baby one.
A little baby worm, yes.
We've seen how big they get.
Yeah.
And then Sebastian's like, I mean, the worms aren't really a problem. I can just mind control them, and then we can use them and ride them into battle. We've done it before. We can do it again.
But then when we let them go, if that's what's causing the tunnels, like at what point will the ground start to...
Ah, you're right.
Yeah.
What if we mind control a couple worms to kill other worms?
What if they're using the sewers?
I mean, everything is using the sewers.
Yeah.
So I say we just nuke the sewers. Place
No waste disposal.
place all the bombs from the academy in the sewers and just blow up the city.
I thought we were trying to avoid that.
Well, back in the day we were. Now,
So worms. Giant worms.
That sort of situation, as far as I know, we've ceased production of these the disjunction
is
bombs.
it because we lost one?
One which I believe may still be at large.
Because that wasn't our fault. That was the Queen of Thieves' fault,
But
right?
Yes.
I
Totally.
I'm Sebastian right now. That's important. Wilhelm doesn't say any of that. That's all said.
I'm not certain that I must say, placing that many those devices in the sewers like that and may have the opposite effect of what you intend.
Hey, as Pluto always says, there's no bad ideas in brainstorming.
Very
doesn't
well.
it create more haze? Don't they create more haze?
I haven't even used
I'm
one.
assuming
We
that
missed
the
that
whole heart
opportunity.
thing is like they feed on it and they're reproducing, so we kill the heart, they stop reproducing.
But the bombs have the haze.
The disjunction bombs are a very destructive invention that the Academy deeply regrets creating.
Oops.
I thought they were pretty cool. But okay. Worm killing.
Worm killing.
Consider it done.
Very well. I will accompany the king to the inscrutable tower. And Ophelia Reed says, and I will accompany Paluto and the others to the cathedral.
Divide and conquer.
Yes, indeed.
And then we will meet back here at Camp Dawn once our missions are complete.
As we march on, before we march on the crater.
And hopefully we come back with multiple dragons and, as you put it, a murder bot.
All right.
For murdering Delirium.
Some backup plan.
I
One
hope.
of us can be a dragon if we don't get it for some reason.
Backup plan, Veil's a dragon.
Very true.
With that, the meeting breaks, and your groups divide up and head towards the city in your respective directions. Ophelia Reed travels with a small contingent of Silver Order soldiers alongside Sebastian, Veo, and Paluto through to Temple Gate towards the cathedral. And Shepherd's Gate is the route that Wilhelm, Rudy, and Wrath take with Eldrick Runeweaver to the inscrutable tower.
Can we bring the crystal?
Yep, the pristine Delirium Geode leaves with the king, and the Diamond of Mount Kadath leaves with Pluto.
How big is it?
It's like a fist-sized diamond.
Cool.
I went way bigger. I was like,
I was like, I was like, my fist
It's
is
big,
smaller
it's
than
big.
Yeah.
yours.
I mean, that's still
That's a pretty big size.
a big diamond.
That's a big diamond.
Ophelia Reed says, I might need some help with this. I've had a lot of questions about my own faith of late, and it would be appreciated if the three of you could just lend me your faith, what you've got in doing this.
Yes.
Like general faith or faith in the flame?
Whatever faith you've got.
All right, I have a lot of faith in these two.
Ophelia,
More shadow than flame, but it's fine.
you know me. I'm not the most faithful person. But there's one thing that I've always had faith in. And that's been you.
Oh, well, thank you.
I mean,
That's true.
I don't have a good reputation with the Silver Order or the Paladins. You showed up a long time ago, like, what, 2 years ago now? And you've been nothing but kind and considerate to us. And you have shown us a lot of things on this journey, and you have been... I don't know much about the Sacred Flame, but I know that it's supposed to represent some sort of guiding light to people. Not one that I've ever seen. Except in you. You've been a guiding light. So, in a way, as the most unfaithful person that you've ever met, I want to let you know that you have shown me what the Sacred Flame represents more than anything else in this world ever has.
Well, thank you, Sebastian. I appreciate that. The three of you travel into the ruins of the city and towards the great cathedral of St. Petruvio. There, stationed within, are several knights of the Silver Order. You step through the great doors into the cathedral. And Sebastian, you feel a little uncomfortable because, like, it's been kind of reconsecrated, so, like, once it gets up to full power, this is probably the last time you'll be able to set foot in here without your undead nature.
So
I like,
gonna live.
I like
So gonna live.
instantly like a dry skin. Like
Yeah.
I'm like flaking a bit. I'm like, oh no.
It's
Listen.
like having a really bad
Yeah.
sunburn.
Yeah.
It actually, as you step in, you can actually feel like it's almost... You step in and though the brazier has been reconsecrated and it's full magic, like, it's still in the place where, like, someone has to cast the spells again every day to get it powered up again, right? And so it's just at the point now where, as you step into the cathedral, your undead form is exposed.
Yeah. So I was already
Yeah.
imagining that. So I
Get over it.
walk in and Sebastian just goes like full like skeletal.
Wow!
And
oh,
What? Do I have
God.
something on my face? Pluto, you looked at me.
Drink
Wait,
a
wait,
soul. Drink a soul or something, man. You look parched.
Is it the arm? Is it still the arm?
It's the whole thing.
Here, let
Whoa.
me try to. It's not coming off. It's not.
Some skin.
Yeah.
Ah!
Hey, I need that. It like grows back. Okay, just guys,
Yeah.
don't look at me.
I thought of a moment where like you're regenerating as quickly as you're like melting. So there's just parts of you that are bubbling off and then like appearing again.
You know, I prepped something for this exact occasion. I reach into my bag of holding and I pull out a very poorly made like red wig and I put it on. Better? Is it better?
Ugh.
I'm just like a skeletal face with like a bad like lopsided red wig.
So much better.
Cool.
Take that off of. What's that from?
The
Where
hair,
did you make
the
that?
hair that I continually lose by being a lich. I made my own wig from my own hair.
Its own hair. As it sits on your head, is it starting
It's-
to like? Ew.
Sounds like you planned ahead.
See, guys, I love going on missions with you. It's always a good time. What's the worst that could happen? Anyway, let's
Ignatius
get me out of
hates
this
you.
church. I
Ignatius
don't
hates you.
like it here at all. It
As
is-
you
Just maybe stay close to the back
the
of the group.
knights here say, As you emerge into the cathedral, Ophelia Reed says, we'll head down to the bones of Argonath and begin the rite. I don't know what's gonna happen. Lucretia Matthias was conducting prayers down here, and the bones of Argonath were left within the contaminated ruins for a long time. And so I'm not sure if some lingering magic of Lucretia's or even some kind of corruption might still be lingering here. So be prepared for that.
Whatever happens, we've dealt with a lot here in Drakenheim. We can help. We'll deal with this too. Right?
I mean, we'll deal with anything. We're together.
There's literally nothing I can't do.
Well,
I believe it.
Yeah.
You're still alive. We don't know how.
I
but-
shouldn't be, and
Oh, it's because of the oil bath, I think.
yeah, I have achieved sainthood
Mm-hmm.
as a living person, so believe it or not, pretty great.
I'm also remembering that there's also a big pile of delirium, golden delirium down there too, right?
Was the golden delirium brought here?
Yes, the followers of the Falling Fire brought it here, and we haven't yet decided what's to be done with it. Those are still devout and faithful people that believed in the sacred flame,
My tummy's rumbling.
and we don't.
No!
And a decision hasn't been made yet on what to do with those shards.
They're still thinking about it, Sebastian.
I got a few solutions, but we can brainstorm.
You could is there a way you can check out ones that are just maybe they were bad people?
Yeah,
converted,
maybe there were some Falling Fire members that we don't.
committed atrocities.
Yeah, but then I have to live with that in
You
me.
Yeah.
want to eat the good people.
I mean, I'd like to. I can be a better person.
Like
I
to
just
eat the
need-
good people?
Yeah. It'll-
That's an inside thought, Sebastian. An
Inside thought.
Okay.
Even though we can see your thoughts, because your brain is partially exposed.
Well, you descend the spiral staircase, which encircles a wide stone chimney into the earth, and it opens into the grand natural cavern. You can smell the sulfurous vapors of the bubbling oils that fill this chamber. Resting in a pool, in this pool of bubbling oil on a rocky plinth, are the ancient remains of the colossal dragon Argonath. The great golden plates of his armor's scales still cling to the hulking skeleton, but the rest of its flesh has long since decomposed. Scattered amongst all of the chamber are the hundreds of golden delirium crystals that were collected by the followers of the Falling Fire, gleaming out around and reflecting off of the golden scales of the massive ancient dragon. There is a place that was clearly prepared by Lucretia Matthias for meditation, and several books and scrolls are scattered about here. The remnants from when Pluto and the king and Rudy apprehended Lucretia Matthias. The golden delirium illuminates the chamber itself, so there's no need for any light sources while you're down here. And Ophelia reminds you that you don't want to use open flames down here.
No fire.
Oh. Okay.
Isn't that like my whole sword? No, it's radiant.
No.
Yeah.
Fine. Maybe we can start preparing. I'm gonna ask for Ophelia's guidance to start preparing the chamber. So maybe shuffling things around, using the meditation space. That seems like a nice open space to do the actual ritual.
Ophelia says, Lord Jackson, you wear all the relics of St. Vitruvio. His helm, his shield, his scepter.
And the phylactery.
Yes.
No. The reliquary.
His reliquary and the blade Ignatius. It was long ago that a great army led by Dragonspawn attacked Drakkenheim. This was before the reign of the Von Kessels, and during that time, the weak ruler of House von Draken fled the city in fear of the invading army that came from the Eastern Vale. Saint Vitruvio rose up along with Argonath to save Drakkenheim. Though the dragon was slain in that battle, and Saint Vitruvio perished several years later, it was Vitruvio said that Argonath would have his deserved rest, but rise again when great darkness engulfed Drakenheim at the end of days. And I would say that we're about as close to that as we're ever going to be. And so, what I would have you do, Lord Jackson,
Guide me, Ophelia.
as I invoke this story, she places the diamond on the brow, the skull of the dragon itself, and lights several candles, small flames,
Yeah. Okay.
that she lights with magic, like a thaumaturgy spell. She says, touch the blade Ignatius to the nose of the dragon, and speak truthfully of the darkness that has fallen upon this world. Tell Argonath why we need him.
Shall I?
She turns to Sebastian and Veo. Two of you, just be ready.
Oh.
Oh, sorry. You go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, say anything you want to say.
You got this.
You're gonna be great.
Thanks, guys. Oh, great Argonath. I know I'm disrupting your slumber, but a new darkness arises. But not from the east, but from within Drakenheim. It came from the sky, but not like a dragon. It was a big rock. And this threat, it tears at the very people that live within these walls. Now I am not Saint Vitruvio. I am greater. I am but a humble servant, wearing modest, humble, wearing all of their stuff, so it shouldn't be too hard to think that I'm kind to them. So you can kind of look at me and go, it's pretty much the same. But I ask you, I reach out to you, I beg you to come back to Drakenheim in its time of need. Your great slumber is over, and the terror that is within these walls must be eliminated, and only you and me have the power to do this. Rise, Argonath. Did I say it right? Argonath, rise! Come back to the great city that recognizes your great strength.
Ophelia Reed continues to speak prayers in Celestial. And she says, tell Argonath what his mission will be.
Specifically, we will destroy the monsters created by the delirium crystal. We will travel to the heart of the impact, where there lies a terrible rock that I touched, and it was awful. And you're gonna destroy it.
The dragon's bones stir.
Only you, in your great power, have the ability to do this. And you will also kind of listen to me, but you're gonna have your own. You're like allowed to do your own thing, but I also have a semblance of control over you. Like where you recognize me as an ally, so is this guy, the weird lich guy.
Consent in the...
And yeah, and our cat folk. These are my friends, and you listen to us too. But you are your own person, and you're much more wise than I am. But I wear your old person, the person that used to really likes armor, so you kind of listen to me now too.
As Argonath stirs,
Am I nailing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
the diamond of Mount Kadath begins to glow upon his brow, and you see a shimmering draconic spirit fill the dragon's form. And as the spirit begins to manifest, the golden delirium crystals around begin to glow brightly, and you hear a sound within the air. And you hear a chorus of voices cry out, "No, Argonath! No! These stones are heaven sent. Do not forget your charge. You are to protect them. They are the salvation of Drakkenheim, not its doom."
Silence, stones! Silence! Argonath, do not listen to these. They are after believers. They have been corrupted by the stones. You are the great protector of the city, and these stones threaten its very existence.
The dragon's form shuffles, the bones creaking as the chorus of voices around it and yours rattle, and a shake and shudder fills the chamber as several of the golden shards from within them, spectral spirits rise up, drawing blades of radiant energy. And as the bones shudder and shake, that's where we'll end for the day.
Why is it always radiant? Come on. I should have gone to the tower.
We are in the church. We decided to bring all the stones here. This is really on us. We really...
Guys, I came to the wrong place.
You were in the
Okay,
wrong
I-
place.
I'd run up the stairs. I'd book it.
You put it...
I see one radiant blade, and I'm just like, nope. Like a vampire. No.
And a big thank you, as always, to our incredible cast, Jill, Kelly, and Joe, for playing today.
Thank you.
And a huge thank you to Kyle for all of his work behind the scenes. Oh, I messed up your wave. I did it. I'm so sorry. And a big thank you to our Dungeon Master, Monty Martin.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Glowing stones. In our games, in our tabletop games, you get to see some incredible assets produced by talented artists. We're going to see those real soon, and we hope that you can also go out and support some of these amazing creators. We have Dwarven Forge for our terrain, Hero Forge and WizKids for our miniatures, player character artwork by Elizabeth Perot, and music by Tabletop Audio.
Check out the links below for our Teespring store where you can find all of your favorite Dungeons Dudes shirts. Check out bit.ly/Dungeon Dudes merch. And of course, if you want to bring Drakkenheim to your table, check out Drakkenheim.com.
Our videos and live streams are made possible thanks to the incredible generosity of our Patreon supporters. We have recently upgraded our Patreon with some amazing new reward tiers, and best of all, our Patreon supporters get all of our videos a week early. You could be watching next week's episode right now, unless you're already a patron, in which case you're watching this now and you're still going to have to wait a week, but you got it a week earlier than everyone else did, so you're still coming out ahead. All that and much more by signing up for our Patreon.
And also, as part of our Patreon, you get access to our phenomenal Discord community where we chat about all things D&D, Drakenheim. You can ask us questions. You can hang out with us and talk all you want about D&D. It's great. So make sure to join us on our Discord.
Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time in Drakenheim.
you.